Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the First Year Experience Podcast. My name is Gerson Salinas. I'm going to be your host for today. I'm here in person with my beautiful girlfriend, Neidye Rodriguez. I'm also joined on Zoom with my other co-host, Galindo, and we have a very special guest today, Kenia Lievanos. Is that how you say your name? I'm
Yes.
so sorry. Yes. She is our co-worker, and she is, how would you say?
She is one of our interns for FYE, and we're so excited to have her join our family, our organization. And so today we're going to be interviewing her.
Yes, that's what we're going to do. So, Kenia, would you mind telling us, are you a freshman?
Starting this fall, I'm gonna be a sophomore.
Starting this fall, you're going to, okay, that's the question that we had because we knew that you guys are freshmen right now. We weren't sure if you're like barely going to be a freshman or like we're a freshman this past year and now you're going to be a sophomore. So that's how it is. And yeah, so we also wanted to know how you got this job. Like, was it through handshake? Was it through a different way?
It was really weird at first. Well, it has a lot of backstory with it, but I don't know like the timing with this question or like how.
Sure, no, we have time.
Okay, well, I started as a freshman fall 2020, but I didn't finish it. So that's kind of like the thing. And so of many things that happened, and then also the spring I didn't came back, and so I took that time off. But I was still like there was something in me that I still wanted to study, like I still wanted that. So I was like that was in the back of my head, and then it's a lot of things, like it's really big, but and then I was like, okay, I'll give it a chance in the summer. And so I was like, okay, and then I applied back as a returning student. And then I got accepted, but I was like very worried. I was like, oh, like the grants and like the money and like many different things. And so I was like, okay, I'll apply. And then I got accepted, and then I got like 4 scholarships for the summer, and then I got grants, and I was like, wow, okay, I'm gonna go back like it said. And then I got an email from Kim saying that like, oh, we're offering like a part-time job with FYE, and if you're interested. I'm like, oh, okay. And like she was super busy, so she couldn't get back to me like really quick. And then she started telling me about the job, and I was like, okay. I thought about it, and then like, what was it, a week, and then I accepted it. And so it was like the whole process of new things coming in my life.
Yeah, that's so interesting. So what was the job offer? What were kind of like the things that they told you were gonna do in the job?
It was mostly like doing this Thrive guide that we're gonna work on. We have like meetings on Fridays, and it's like this guide, this research that is for students, and they wanted like second year students for their input on it and to see how we can make it better, because I didn't know about that like my first year, and like now seeing it, it's a good resource for students to have. It's like tips for your first year and like many resources about utrgv that I didn't even know, and it's a good resource for the upcoming students. And so and many other things right now we're working on, and it was just like trainings the first week, so it wasn't that much, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really great to have you guys on board, especially as second year students, because like we were actually talking about that a little while before the meeting actually started, where, you know, FYE's job is to make freshmen feel more at home, you know, into the transition like to the university. And we were just talking about how we feel a little out of touch because, you know, a lot of us will be graduating within the next year or so. And so it's kind of like, how difficult is it, you know, like to come in again and all of that stuff. So it's so great to have you guys on board so you can like let us know, as well as like let freshmen know, you know, that those resources are available, because we always say the same thing too. We're like, oh, I wish I would have known about FYE when I was like coming into university and stuff like that. And so touching a little bit more on what you had said, we wanted to know what your experience has been like with FYE so far.
Mm-hmm. Well, I really liked it. I think one of the first meetings I joined, we did like a trivia night, and so it was really fun. Like that was like the first meeting I had like joining, and so it was really nice getting to know everybody, and then like Kim, Cynthia, and Jose, like the ones in charge. So it was really nice getting to know them. I feel like I was like, wow, getting this, because since the spring, like I wasn't studying, so I was like, oh, like what? And then like going back in the summer study, and then getting this part-time job, and like being at home, like because there's some things that like I couldn't leave for now, for instance. So being at home, being like online, I was like, wow, like God really provided through that, and meeting with you all. And then another thing was that I through this year, I've been listening to the FYE podcast. I didn't mention it earlier, but it was really good research for me. Well, I didn't know about it. I knew about it, I think, the spring 2021, but it was really good resource. And I was listening to it, and it helped me a lot. And I think you guys did like a live for the restart students. I think Jerry was in it, and Natasha and other people. And like they were talking about the restart, and I was like, oh, like even when I got the email from Kim, like she didn't give me that much insight about it. She just offered me the job. I was like, all right, what is this? And then there was a live that you guys did, and talking about it, what it was, what was the restart, what was the classes and everything. I was like, okay, like it gave me more insight about it, and about the summer classes as well. So it was really nice.
Wow.
Through that, and then now being part, I'm like, what?
You're like, oh, it came full circle. It's really cool because we wonder, like, is anyone listening? Like, are you guys out there? Because yeah, that's really the goal. I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
I did want to ask you, what are your goals with FYE? Like, is there something that you have in mind that can maybe better the organization, or like your goal? To like get the word out to freshmen about like an idea that you might have, or like even second year experience students?
There's some things, because with the Thrive Guide that we're working on, it's like, how can we make it better? How can we get it to students that it's more like easy for us to see, or like how can Jose was saying, how can we expand this so people know about it and they use the resource and they can like benefit from it. And so I've been writing some things down and like seeing how we can improve it. And I don't know, I feel like there's so many things that can go with it. Well, dealing with that is like the front page is just very blank. And so like I was like, some of the ideas I was gonna tell them, like maybe like the front page, it just says Thrive Guide. And I'm like, even when I saw it at first, I was like, what's that? Like Thrive Guide, like maybe like putting pictures and like having like, I don't know, a graphic designer like do the front page, and so people can grab like people's attention and seeing it and be like, oh, okay, I want to know about it. So that's one of the ideas I have written down that I'm gonna really like tell them, but that's like a few things to make it more appealing to students.
So I had a question. So you said that your first year was a little rocky in the sense that you kind of like couldn't finish, and you kind of like had that, you took that, like, I guess, break into like deciding whether or not to stay or come back. And you kind of said that when you learned about Restart, that kind of like reinvigorated you, gave you like and now you have scholarships and somewhat. I think that's such a great example that students that might have felt, I'm sure you're not the only student that felt that. So like, what advice could you give to students that were like that are currently in your position, or maybe they might be in the future when fall ends up starting and they feel like a little overwhelmed? What was your like call to like be like, I'm gonna give this another shot?
Yeah. When I was in fall, I was in this organization called Delight Ministries. It's like a club organization with utrgv, and so in there we study. It's like a group of women studying God's word, and we go through studies, and it was really nice, a community of women. And so I've been like growing relationships with some of the girls, and one of them who graduated this spring, we were talking and we grew, and she's like, she knew about me, and I had a lot of like mental struggles, mental health struggles during that time. And she's like, Kenia, what you were doing, because I was asking her for help in many things, and so she was like, Kenia, a degree is not worth it when you're not doing good. And so knowing that if it takes you an extra year for you to finish, it's better to take that than to trying to like everybody's like, do your first year. Like even taking that time off was really hard. Like people are like, oh, you ruined, like, oh, you have to take a whole year. And like it was like a very bad mindset. Like people were telling me like taking that, but when she told me that, it's like you have to be good in order like for your degree and for yourself to continue. So that advice that she gave me was really helpful.
Wow.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I think a lot of freshmen might be struggling with that, because I know it's really hard like to get into college, and the way that it kind of changes your life, it can be very, very difficult. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
I really like your advice.
especially I understand that last year was a really rough year for everyone, so it's like understandable that people are going through those kind of struggles. And even at any time, I think I always take the mindset of kind of like, if you're gonna do something, you have to do it right, so might as well like take your time with it. I'm never in a rush for anything, so I think like take your time but do it right. So I think that's what you're doing, and a lot of students maybe need to hear that, because I think it's always, and it's a good push, but I feel like we're always being pushed to work really hard, right, and to do a lot of things at the same time. And that's a good thing, but also like if you're, like you said, if you're putting that before your mental health, and it's not really a good thing. So thank you for sharing that.
I did just want to let any viewers out there know, because it is just such an overwhelming feeling before you get to college, where it's like, no, you need to go and it's going to be really hard, and they kind of like preemptively stress you out before you even get here. And so I know we anticipate it being difficult, but really like I think the university, as well as like our organization in part with that, has a lot of resources available, because it does feel like we're the only ones struggling with those things. And a lot of times, we might be. So it's always really, really great to take that time off, especially if you feel like you need it. But if there is anybody else struggling with, like difficulty maintaining motivation, we do have a lot of counseling resources here, as well as tutoring resources here, because it's just such a difficult transition in so many areas. And so we really want to get the word out there for help that's available if anybody might need it. And we have some really cool upcoming episodes planned for you guys that maybe touch a little bit more on those resources, so stay tuned.
I wanted to mention that Kenia isn't our only intern that we have so far. So like this question, Kenia, is how's it been like coming into FYE? How has it been working with your fellow interns? Have you been like adjusting well? Are there any plans into fall that you're excited about?
I don't know. I just feel like I'm very excited to get back in this like studying and like working part-time with the university, but it's just very exciting. Like I know I have some classes now that are going to be in person, and some of them online and some of them asynchronous, but it's like a mix. But I'm just very excited to be back on that, because I did had some major of my classes in the fall were like online, so taking and having more in person, I think it's going to be very beneficial and very exciting. So yeah.
I was gonna say, so as a freshman, you have, you're going to be a sophomore now, but you kind of have it fresher in your mind what it is like to come into the university. So we kind of wanted to ask you kind of like for help. So as a freshman, what are kind of some things that we as first year experience should pay more attention to? Maybe, and I don't know, some other ways that we can help out, or other things that we can do to help freshmen out. What was something or something that you struggled with in your first year?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I feel like one of the main things was like not asking for help. I feel like there was a lot of things that I should have asked for help, and I think would have been very beneficial since the start, and not just like I know that in November when I left, it was like so bad, and it was midterms, and I was like cramming and everything. But I know that I should have asked for help and like seeking. And I know there were so many resources out there now that I know, but before me, I didn't really use that. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I know that there's a lot of social media for like the different utrgv like departments. So I don't know. Maybe like I don't know, promoting more like I don't know. I feel like I've seen them and I follow them, but I don't know. I feel like promoting more to students, like more accessible to students. Like I don't know if you had questions or anything, any doubts for the students, like for them to feel free to reach out. I don't know. I feel like I had to send an email, had to be this way, but I don't know. I feel like the connection between the student and the departments, like how to merge it into a way that's more, I don't know, like easier or more way to get more help. I don't know, something around those lines.
Yeah, I think that's really insightful.
Yeah, for sure. I know it is one of those things where you're going to a really big school versus like high school tends to be a little bit smaller. And a lot of people come from out of state as well. So it can kind of be a little stressful to even ask for help or like even make friends. Like I definitely understand that feeling, because it's kind of like, well, I'm too nervous to even ask where this is, or like who would even know this, and it can feel really hard. So maybe a little bit more media exposure, you'd say?
Yeah, something like that.
All right, yeah.
Great idea. Thank you.
Make it easier to keep the what would you call it? I forgot the word. It doesn't matter. It's a good idea either way. Anything else that you guys want to ask?
I feel like I always have so many questions, and I'm sorry if it can feel like a little overwhelming. I'm so fascinated with, I guess like the comeback story of it all. And I guess one of the questions that maybe connects a little bit more to what Jerry was saying earlier is, a lot of your fellow like coworkers, who are also freshmen about to be sophomores or still, completing their freshman year. Have you felt like there's really like a community, like you guys all understand each other a little bit more, coming in and like joining an organization that's like hyper focused on making sure that you have like a continuous successful academic career?
I think yes, because one of the members, like Celeste, she's in my unit class right now that I'm taking, and so when we first joined, I saw her name, like because in that class at first we didn't have to be in like our camera, so it was just sometimes our names, and I saw it and I was like, oh, okay. And then when she joined like the FYE, and then I think she joined one of the meetings we had, I was like Celeste, and I saw her name, and then she joined, and then I was like, is that her? And then I in the class, I like texted her and I was like, hey Celeste, are you in the FYE? She's like, yes, I recognized you because of this. I'm like, like we connected, and I'm like, wow, like and she's like, yes, I'm very nervous, and I'm like, oh, I've been in it for like a week. And then we messaged and we're like, and then we had help with like I don't know, with something, and I was like, wow, like making that connection in like the class, I feel like was really beneficial.
Cool. And on that same note, how are you feeling about your UNIV classes? Like, do you think that it's really beneficial, for freshman students to take the course?
Yes, it's been these 2 units that I've taken. So I took one in May. That's when I started back in the summer. And then right now my June class, the May one I had was like straight in person. So I had to meet every day from 3 hours. And it was only a small group of girls, and then the rest were in Zoom. So it was a different dynamic, but it was really nice transitioning because the class was focused more on like the students, like our career, our goals and everything. And having that with like in person, like from not being in the spring and then in May, having to go for 3 hours every day for a whole straight week, it was like a shock for me. I was like, but it was really nice getting to know both of the 2 girls. I'm not gonna say their names here, but it was really nice bonding with them too. And then also one of those, that girl in May, my friend also is in this class that I'm taking right now. So we've been like messaging, but it's a really nice shift back to school, like that class in May and then this class, seeing like how to study. And like right now the readings we have is like everything dealing with how to read, your strategies, how you learn better, and it's like all these different things. So it's like giving me in the flow of like, okay, I'm here in my room, I'm like studying, okay, oh, it's time to work, okay, working, I have to do some painting, okay, let me get my painting stuff here, and like I do everything.
Yeah.
It's like still different because it's like online these classes, both this class, but yeah, it's like this whole shift. I'm excited and I've been really liking it.
Wow. That's great. And it's like a training for, I guess, like a training for the big semester that's coming up, the fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the whole idea of UNIV. I know, like for me, I also had to take a UNIV course, and I think that it really helped me because Gerson can attest I'm perpetually late to everything because I'm not really good at timing, like time management in general. And I think that course is one of those things that even opened my eyes to that. Like, what? I need to block off time to do this.
It's a really crazy thing to think about because it's like you're in the same room the whole day. So it kind of feels like everything's happening at the same time. So if you block off different times for different things, and that kind of gets you back into like I actually have a schedule, and right now this is what I have to do. So you kind of get it done faster.
Do you have any questions, Jerry, so far?
I am still just so I think it's amazing that, like you said earlier, Neidye, I think it's amazing that we actually like have someone part of our first year experience team that like actually knows the struggle of what it's like to like have to come into fall 2020 as like when when COVID was like at its worst, and have to go through all those like trials and tribulations, and take that break, like take that initiative to be like, no, I have to like better myself, continue my career. And it's great. I think it's like that's the kind of like mentality that we need right now, especially when we're moving back into in-person this fall. Know that not everyone is like, not everyone is able to just like pull through. Some people need to like, actually take time and work on themselves and then come back when they're ready. And I definitely think that's something that we're working on right now with the podcast team. Like next week, I think we're going to be having an entire podcast dedicated to like readjusting to in-person life and like what exactly that means on the like psychology level of like some students just have anxiety, some students like are just scared to come back. And it's totally something I understand, and I hope that hearing people like you, Kenia, I hope students can take away that like they're not alone, and that there's options, and like Restart, that was a program that you took advantage of, and you're ready to come back into the fall again. So I really have no other questions other than like thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope that we can interview more amazing interns that have more amazing stories just like yours.
For sure, we're gonna keep inviting the new interns that they've been hiring, so they can keep joining us on the podcast. And Kenia, you're more than welcome to join us anytime you want. And like it doesn't have to be relating to interns or freshman years or anything. Like any episode that you feel like joining, you can just go ahead and tell us, and we'll put you in it. It was really insightful having you with us today, and I'm really grateful that you came and that you told us a bit of your story. So yeah, thank you so much for coming.
It was really nice talking with you all and like sharing, like knowing like how you guys were sharing your also stories and things. Just talking, I feel like it's really nice, like having like this and like knowing that there's like the organization like FYE that helps the students like for the better, not for the worse. So I'm like, wow, like it's a good way that the students can connect. I feel like when I was just hearing the podcast, I was like, wow, like I was learning so many things that I probably I didn't know as much. So it was really insightful and like, but no, it was really, really helpful. And so it was really nice talking with you all as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kenia.
And we're glad to hear that we've at least helped a little bit with
Yes.
someone.
It's so great. And I really can't wait. I really hope that you choose to join us in future episodes because we love having you and we love that you're part of FYE. And I'm just so excited to be seeing your name come out in our meetings, and hearing how you're going to impact the organization. Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys for listening in this episode, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.